Hey everybody, this is So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
This week on the show, we're talking about our favorite movies of the year so far. Find out what made our list from the first half of the year and what we're looking forward to next.
Yeah, also, we get to talk to Garrett about where he's been all summer.
You're not going to believe this, guys. 65? True story. Oh. True story.
Oh, that was you were the tiny child with space cancer?
Yeah.
We might have been too harsh to that movie.
Yeah, I think I was too. I forgot it happened, but you know what?
We'll get the full story. In the meantime, you all enjoy the show. Find us online at somanysequels.com where you can get all of our social channels and all of our back episodes. Without any further ado, enjoy the show.
No, I'm getting ready to go. I think I told you guys last week that we were going to a beach, but I didn't know where. We're going to Tampa Bay. So,
oh, really?
You gonna go visit the Tom Brady? Is he still there? He retired finally, right? Again?
I think so. I don't know, but I do kind of want to, like, while I'm in the area, I do kind of want to get like a Buccaneers hat just for the sake of it.
Sure.
Not because I'm a Buccaneers fan, but why not?
Well,
I like hats.
What takes you to Tampa Bay?
Mostly just I asked my wife. We go to Disney like every few years or every year in some cases, which is great. I love going to Disney World.
Right.
But I said I would love to go on a vacation where we don't have like a plan or an agenda or like, waking up at 8:30 in the morning, getting ready. We have to be here by 9. Then we have to finish that. Then we have to be over there by 10:15, back and forth all day. Because as much fun as that was when I was 18, 21, 25, whatever, it's I'm getting old. I don't want to walk that much.
Right.
So I want to just wake up and be on a beach. And if I decide to go down the beach, I will. And if I don't want to, I shan't. I just want to be, I want to lazy, but also, so, we just started looking at beaches and we looked at like, well, we could go to, somewhere like we could go to Mexico or we could go East Coast, West Coast, where we want to go. And then her parents got involved in the vacation. So then it became places that they were more familiar with and somehow kicked around. I don't know. We ended up with Tampa Bay, which I was like, well, that kind of sounds neat. And then we started looking into it and they have this really big aquarium and they have a dinosaur museum. And we were like, Jack will love both of those. So
I would too.
Yeah. So it was like, let's do that. And then they had something else that they had that looked really cool. They have I imagine Tulsa has something like this. They have a what they call the City Pass, which is like these 5 city locations that
what would be on it?
It's the zoo. Well, no,
Tulsa does not have one, but it's a good deal for cities that do.
For Tampa Bay, it's like, I don't know if you guys have heard this. For Tampa Bay, it's like the aquarium, that museum. There's like an art museum, and then there's like 2 other places. I don't remember what Nikki said. But they were both places that sounded pretty cool. For Tulsa, I don't know, the Tulsa Zoo.
Tulsa wouldn't have it because those places are expensive. Whereas, you add up all of the entry fees to the places that you'd go in Tulsa, and it would equal less than the City Pass. That's not knocking on anything. I'm just saying we have good cost of living here in Tulsa.
The City Pass in Tampa Bay is like $130. For Tulsa, you could probably get away with like $85.
Yep.
Yeah, I've done city passes, I think, in New York before. They're nice.
Chicago, too.
Somewhere. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's where David is going. Garrett, where have you been?
Garrett's been, I don't know, man, all over the place. Let me tell you what. No, I've been finishing a master's degree. This has been like a 1.5-year course, and it's nonstop. And the summer ones are like 16 weeks condensed into 8. Mm-hmm. And so it is just week after week of just stuff. So I have not had a chance to see any of the movies that you all have a chance to talk about. My list is usually relatively impressive at this point in time, and it is not. And I am sad to say that I don't think I have a single anticipated blockbuster on my list as of now. So hopefully after this week, when I am done writing my final paper, I can catch up on a whole bunch of movies. I'm very excited about that.
Yes,
Right.
we'll have our lists to go off of.
Yeah. So
and please, I am at the point we are here for the mid-year review, which is why I'm here, why I'm back, because I like it and I'm excited. Please don't worry about me being spoiled on anything at this point in time. I feel like I have surpassed that. You guys have episodes out that people can go listen to. We're at the mid-year review. It's on me to have not seen them. So talk about it. It's not going to bug me. Just maybe don't give me like big time things, but within reason.
I don't know about David, but on my list, there are some that are recent enough to where I wouldn't spoil anyway. Just because we're at that halfway point in the year, some of them are pretty fresh.
And then I'll be honest, a lot of my top 10 are movies that you did see with us. So
fair enough.
Hey, there you go. Okay. Well, then do we just want to dive into it and start with our little round table, starting with 10?
Yeah. So we can, for me, I only have 14. So we can do a top 10 and a bottom 4 if you like.
Oh, man.
I
feel like they don't have to mess with the bottoms right now.
You probably still have like 30, don't you?
I have 19. I have 19.
Oh, there you go.
I have.
How many you got total, Josh? You've seen the most for sure. 24? Okay.
24.
All right.
It's not as much as you'd think.
No, I think our mid-year for 2019, Garrett had seen like 45 films.
That was the year of Movie Pass, man.
And I'd say 2019 is still a banger year.
Movie Pass, I saw so many movies because of that deal.
I just added another movie to my 2019 list. That was You'll Always Be My Maybe, or
Always. You're still throwing movies in there, yeah.
Maybe. Oh, yeah. If I see a movie, I'm going to throw it back in the list. You got to.
Fair. I only do it for the movies that I see that year. That's interesting. Anyway.
Yeah, I go back and forth. Sometimes I removed one from my list that I'll just go ahead and say. I removed Megan from my list because it's marked as a 2022 movie, but I think it had a wide release in January, and that towed a line so close that I didn't know how I felt about it.
If it helps, it is on my list and will make an appearance this evening.
Okay, then I don't feel as bad as long as someone gets to talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead and start because I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who saw my number 10, which is Asteroid City, Wes Anderson's latest movie. This is a pretty recent one. Just came out 2-3 weeks ago, wide, I think, as of this recording. Went and saw it at Circle Cinema. Had a great time there, as always. If you remember, you get your little free member popcorn. It's the kind of place for Wes Anderson. So I think that helped me enjoy it a little more. Sure. But also, I just thought it was a pretty fun little movie. I mean, it's kind of strange because it's very meta. It is about a TV broadcast of a documentary about a play, and then you're watching the play, but as if it were real life. If you follow. So it's weird enough to be Wes Anderson. So it sticks with his normal shtick of charming characters and interesting visuals. It's very colorful. It's got some fun stuff in it. So that's my number 10, Asteroid City. Well, let's go clockwise for me. And David, what do you have next?
That sounds good. And I haven't seen Asteroid City, nor have I seen any Wes Anderson movies. So I need to get caught up. No.
Wow. Okay.
I know of Bottle Rocket.
I haven't seen Asteroid City. I want to. I have a weird love-hate thing with Wes Anderson myself, where I really want to like his movies. His movies seem like they are right up my alley, but man, it's hit and miss. I either really like them or I really don't. But I always like the aesthetic. That is one thing that I always appreciate. I may not walk away liking the movie, but I really like the aesthetic. So I'm looking forward to seeing that solely for the aesthetic. I'm excited about the movie too.
Dean, I'm going to put it on my watch list. One of these days, I'm just going to because I feel like I shouldn't start there. Do you think I could start there, Josh, at Asteroid City, or do I need to go back and take in more of his oeuvre before I move forward?
No, you don't need. I mean, that's kind of the nice part about Wes Anderson is his aesthetic goes from movie to movie, but plot wise, you can just jump in anywhere. It's not like you're going to not get references or anything.
No, but I just mean
Oh, do you mean like, is it a good entry point for Wes?
Because like, is it so? Is his style surely has only evolved over time? Am I going to be like jumping? Is it like I don't know. It might be more fulfilling to like see how he started and then make that journey forward with him.
Not necessarily. I mean, I think there are certainly more broadly appealing movies he's done. Grand Budapest Hotel is probably his most successful movie in terms of a broad audience, nominated for Best Picture. So that's probably the best entry point, but
Okay.
Asteroid City's pretty good too, I think.
He also did a Fantastic Mr. Fox, right?
He's got a couple of animated movies under his
by stark contrast, my number 10, and I only have 14, so this something had to make number 10, is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. This was a movie that I felt really good about when I first came out, and I was like, I dug that. That was fun. And I still maintain that it was funny. I did laugh a lot. Paul Rudd's hilarious. A lot of good comedic actors in the movie. And, I did like some of the more high concept bits. There's a point where Paul Rudd just keeps manipulating in a thousand probabilities of himself. And they make a joke about, they make like a Schrodinger's cat joke, but, in which in this case, Paul is Schrodinger's cat. He's the cat in this scenario. Anyway, it's a fun. I had fun. It's kind of sank over the course of the year in terms of my overall standing on it. Not my favorite MCU movie of the year, but so, that falls down to number 10.
Okay.
Yeah, that didn't make my list top 10, but yeah, that doesn't hold up well over time. This Ant-Man movie.
It did not make mine either. I updated it today a little bit, and it was in my top 10, and then I knocked it down several spots. Because, yes, I agree that with time, I care even less about it. It's like something about it just didn't latch on to me. It was fun in the moment, fun enough at least. And then it's like, I don't care anymore.
Boy, I bet if you go back and watch that movie again, it will take a hit. Like for me, it's just a 2.5, and I bet if I go back and rewatch it, it is going to be a low.
Yeah, I haven't rewatched it yet.
Well, you can go do that on Disney Plus, and then listen to our review at SoManySequels.com.
Yeah, Ding. Things may have changed since then.
Exactly. Okay, Garrett, you're number 10.
My number 10 is a movie called Missing. A pseudo sequel to Searching. This movie is in my number 10 spot. I think my issue with this movie really was that I watched Searching before I went and saw Missing. And I think that was the mistake because they were so similar in how they told the story. Nothing against that. It was just, I felt Searching was a better story than Missing. It was still told in a really fun way. It was a very enjoyable. I have no problems with this movie. The only issue was I thought it would be fun to revisit Searching, and then it took away some of the fun from Missing. So don't do that. Watch. Really, I think if you watch either one, be excited to see the other one. That's the way that it should be. So, but it's my number 10.
Okay, so a little too continuous in terms of a sequel and predecessor. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I haven't seen it, but probably won't.
It wasn't on my list, but it was number 11. So I was super close to getting it in there.
Very close.
It was really a toss-up for me between that and Asteroid City. But I also had a really good time with it. I like that the format I still think is pretty innovative. This one mostly existed on the phone. Am I remembering right?
It was kind of more. It was so the other one was more. It was
like the computer.
It was like an older man trying to figure out some of the things. Right. This is.
And this was a young girl,
a younger person who knew how to do the technology and was on a bunch of different things. So that was a really fun storytelling element. I liked.
Yeah,
that.
I agree. I liked it a lot. I thought Missing was good. Searching is probably a better, but yeah, definitely agree that Missing is good. Okay, are we?
Yeah, you're number 9, Josh.
Number 9 already. Okay, I lost my
flying through it.
I got it. So my number 9 is a movie called Beau is Afraid. The latest from Ari Aster. Whether or not I like it is still up in the air, but it's good enough to be number 9. It's just really weird. It's funnier than it has any right to be, but it's also like really disturbing. I think so much of it is just this. The movie is like anxiety personified through this character, Bo, played by Joaquin Phoenix. And so the best description I have for it is, so, you know how like you're going about your daily life and any scenario might come up and you'll always expect the worst thing to happen. Mm-hmm. This movie is if the worst thing always happened.
Oh man.
If
that's
your
like
worst
the White
fear,
Lotus. That's like the White Lotus.
Yes. If what your worst fear is what always happens, that is Beau is Afraid. So it's good, but it's upsetting. It's also just very long and weird, and that's the Ari Aster coming out. I don't know that I'd watch it again. But I thought about it a lot, so
yeah, memorable.
It was memorable.
Sometimes
it's
that's
not scary.
Yeah.
It's not like, you know, he's known for Hereditary and Midsommar, which are more horror. This is a different kind of, I think, a horror. But it's not particularly. It's just unsettling. It's not particularly scary. You're not going to be like, ah.
Again,
maybe once. There's a really weird part I don't want to spoil.
Does it give you the anxiety sweats though?
Yeah.
Do you find yourself just saying, "Don't do that. Don't do that"?
Yeah. Well, like there's a part early on where
that was me trying to watch Ozark.
You know how like you're walking down the street and you see another guy walking your way and he looks a little sketchy and it's fine. There's like a part where it's not fine and the guy looks sketchy and he like runs at him and chases him. So so that kind of stuff is like, oh man, that is the kind of stuff I'm afraid that might happen.
Sure.
Instead, in reality, we're usually wrong and then we feel bad.
Well,
so that's my number 9. Beau is Afraid.
Beau is Afraid. Josh is Uncertain.
Yes.
So again, in stark contrast, my number 9, I think, is one of my wife's favorite movies of the year. It's The Little Mermaid with Halle Bailey.
Okay.
This was a lot of fun. I thought. I think I said at the time, this is about as good as one of these reimaginings can be. I think it's never going to feel wholly original when they do it like this, and it's never going to feel like something like extra special. But like this ball, and it got to the end zone. You know what I mean? Like there was no. I don't feel like there was a lot of flash to it, but it got the job done. Halle Bailey's an incredible singer, so I mean that elevated it a lot. And then the iconic much like Beauty and the Beast, the iconic moments that they tried to recreate, they recreated fantastically. And so yeah, I mean I had a lot of nitpicks. I didn't rate it overly highly. I only gave it 3.5 stars, but you know it's above average. So I feel pretty good about it. And so I placed it at number 9.
Yeah, I also saw Little Mermaid. It did not make my list. I'm actually looking, and I forgot to add it to my list for 2023. But I wouldn't have made. I don't think it'll make my top 10 anyway. We talked about it on the show. You guys can go back and listen to our full discussion about it. But kind of the same thing David said. It is good. It's very it's competent, right? But it's still not. I don't know that it like justifies its existence when you still have that original. And that's like the best compliment I feel like I can give these live action remakes. So it's fine.
I have not seen it, but I'm looking forward to coming out on Disney Plus.
Yay!
No, I thought you had seen it. That's funny.
No.
You know what? I honestly also couldn't remember if this was an episode the 3 of us did or if it was the 2 of us.
Well, I know it was us and Nikki. But
that's right. Nikki did it. That's why I was thinking 3 people.
I thought Garrett was going to be on it, but had to pull out.
I think that was one of the first ones maybe that you dipped out of.
Well, I don't know what you'll think, Gary. Go in with an open mind. Go in ready to hear. It was Halle Bailey and someone else really killed it. I thought. I can't.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. My general Disney repertoire is not very strong, and The Little Mermaid is not one that I have a strong connection to. So there's a high probability that I could like this one just fine because I don't really have any sentimental attachment to The Little Mermaid in general. I couldn't actually name a song that isn't Under the Sea.
Fascinating.
Yeah. Indeed.
Well, then you'll be extra surprised.
Yeah. My number 9
Yeah.
is the Super Mario Brothers.
Oh,
It's
okay.
me.
Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. This one didn't wow me. It was totally fine. It was very enjoyable. All of the kids in there had a great time, and that is all that movie was meant to do, and it made it over and over and over again. So that movie was, again, for kids, remembering, and based on that, number 9 movie. Very entertaining. Got what I expected.
I'll jump ahead a little bit because that is my number 8. So to get that out of the way, I agree.
Perfect.
It was very fun. We saw this together. A rare outing for the boys.
I'd see it with go see it with your friends, your family.
Yeah.
Like, it was totally fun to go with a group of people.
Totally fun. This was one of our big movies for game night month, and so very fun. We reviewed this with Arch earlier this year.
Yeah.
That's a great episode. Go back and watch that. You can hear me do my impression of Mario jumping.
Yes.
Anyway, great movie, a lot of fun, very colorful. Maybe one too many weird needle drops, but other than that,
Super Mario Brothers didn't make my list either. It's at number 13, which I think
harsh list over there at Josh's place.
Well, mine's just a few entries longer. Excuse me. No, but I do really like it, and what I really am finding myself liking about it is it is one of those movies that is getting better with time, because I've been finding myself lately like wanting to watch it again.
Yeah.
There's been a couple people talking about, I rented it the other night. Blah, blah, blah. I want to watch Mario again, I think.
I have no doubt believing that it would deliver on the funny. Maybe not quite as strong, but probably pretty good.
So my number 8 is a very recent addition, and I'm just as surprised as you all probably will be. But it's No Hard Feelings, the new raunchy R-rated Jennifer Lawrence comedy.
Fascinating.
Went and saw it on a whim the other night because a couple people had told me they saw it and they were like, it was actually really funny. So I went, and you know what? It was actually really funny. This is the first time that Jennifer Lawrence has really done comedy like this, and she's quite good at it. I feel like her actor personality is to be weird and awkward, in interviews and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she's very good at translating that to screen. This kid who plays opposite of her, Andrew Barth Feldman, is more known for his work in Dear Evan Hansen on Broadway.
Oh, okay.
This is his first major role, and he is really impressive. I mean, acting against Jennifer Lawrence, an Oscar-nominated A-list star, impressive. The movie definitely has moments where it's like, this is a little out of touch.
Yeah.
But not as much as the trailer implied. The trailer really looked like, I don't even know, those like
it looked like a bad, like a really bad version of a early 2000s raunchy.
Yes. So it's better than that. Okay. But it's funny, and she's very funny. A lot of good laugh out loud moments. So I thought it was pretty good. No hard feelings.
What was that movie with Zac Efron where he was like a frat guy and he was living next door to somebody? Neighbors? Who's the neighbor? Who was the other? Seth
Rogen and Rose Byrne.
Okay, that's what it gave me vibes of. Is that an accurate? Or better than that?
No, it's different. It's different enough.
May have to. That's one of those ones I want to add before the year ends. Definitely,
it'll be a good streamer. If I didn't have A-list, I probably wouldn't have paid for it. So
yeah.
Well, we already talked about my number 8 at Super Mario Brothers. Garrett, what is your number
8?
Wait, 7.
No, my number 8 is Scream 6.
Yeah,
there's so many numbers happening.
I'm sorry.
There's so many numbers here.
I got confused.
No, Scream 6 has made my list at number 8. I enjoyed this entry. I like that they kind of tried something a little different. I don't necessarily think that it was as strong as the last one. I don't remember enough of the Screams overall to kind of rank it with some of the other ones. It's definitely not as good as number 1, and it's not as good as number 5. But I enjoyed it, and I think that it could be an interesting way to take the franchise a little farther. I think it falls into that bridge category of it's a good middle, but it's just kind of setting up 1 to 3, or in this case, 5 to 7.
Interesting. Does it draw from the previous lore? That's what all the posters seem to indicate, that it was going to, like, maybe characters might be reappearing and stuff.
There were some new, if you're familiar with the franchise in general, then there are some people who show up. One of the cameos that's in there, or not really a cameo, I mean, she's in it. Hayden Panettiere, I was unfamiliar with her character, so didn't really have like a fun, like, excitement draw for me. But like, cool that she's there, and fun for people who do know that franchise.
Interesting.
Scream is a little higher up on my list. I'll tell you when we get there, but I'll go ahead and talk about it now. I like Scream. I'm a big ghost face head. I think they don't call us that. I don't think there's a name, but I do really love Scream. It hits a good, it hits a good lane for me of being a fun slasher that also is like self-referential and knows it exists within like a horror genre, and it knows it's a movie. So like all those things, banger for me. I love it. Do agree that it's not as good as 5. That one was a little stronger of a comeback for sure. It had been a while since 4, but I still think this one did a really good job, especially considering it changes up the setting from Woodsboro to New York City, which is the first time that's ever happened. So seeing Ghostface murder in the city is a nice, fun little twist. It's not quite Jason in space, but
yeah, I was going to space.
More realistic.
We're headed towards Ghostface in space.
Ghostface in space. Ghostface.
Oh my God! Ghostface meets space. Ghost. Say that 5 times fast, but I want to.
I can't.
But no, I liked it. I think it gives you, if you're a Scream fan, it gives you pretty much everything you want. Again, great scenes of. I want to watch it again now because I can't remember exactly, but I do remember there was a great scene of how they like talk about it being a requel, not like it's not even a sequel. We're in the requel now, and I was like, yes, it knows what it is.
It does. I do. I appreciate all of the meta stuff. Still, it's still there. You can stream it, I believe, on Peacock.
Yes, probably. Yeah,
Well,
I think so too. Maybe
I definitely was trying to look into what all I could stream to add to my list, because I had 13 as of Monday. I managed to stretch that into one more movie, which we can talk about in our bottom movies later. So then now, Josh.
That brings us to number 7. Yes.
What is number 7? So
my number 7 is Air.
Air.
The movie starring Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Jason Bateman, Viola Davis, Chris Tucker, a whole bunch of great. It's got a great cast. It's one of those like, this is an Oscar movie, or at least it's trying to be. We'll see if it is one. It's still really early, but directed by Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck's always been a better director than an actor, and I think he's a pretty decent actor to be honest, most of the time. But I like his directing work a lot, and this was no exception. It's a story that you would think might be pretty boring, but they still make it exciting. I mean, this movie is about the creation of the Air Jordan shoe, but you never even really see Michael Jordan. And if you haven't seen it yet, I would be like, oh, that's weird. How do they do that? You'll see. It's cool. I like it. Cool story. And just really impressive what those people were able to do and what Michael Jordan's mother was able to do. So a lot of cool stuff going on there. Cooler than you'd think.
There's another one that I haven't seen. Go figure. But I am still looking forward to it. We almost reviewed it. We were talking about doing it
almost.
And I don't remember. I don't know what we decided instead. I think we went with Tetris. Either way, looking forward to it. Garrett, did you see Air?
I have seen Air. Air will make an appearance on my list a little bit later. I'll reveal that number then. But I really enjoyed Air. One of the things that I think, in addition to all of the things that Josh said, needs some praise and some funk on it was the soundtrack. Soundtrack was absolute banger. Seamus would have been proud. He said,
Was it?
It was like peak. What was it? 80s, like strong 80s music, man. And it was like well picked out for the entire thing from start to finish. That stood out to me as something. I also really liked the way that this was shot. I liked the look. I think that it could get some technical awards, and or some nominations, maybe not awards, and then it was also very performance driven. Everybody gave a heck of a performance. Matt Damon was fantastic. Viola Davis was fantastic. Chris Tucker was executed perfectly. And when you execute Chris Tucker perfectly, you have a perfect movie, in my opinion.
Not many people have done that.
No, if you can do it, and you do it well, then that movie's going to be very good. And this movie was very, very good.
I've been seeing Chris Tucker in some interviews lately. A lot of them were associated with this movie. He seems rested. He's like Eric in that one episode of Boy Meets World where he got serious again for an episode. Like he seems rested. He seems like he's been through his things. There was that period where he was technically missing, but now he's back, and it's good to see Chris. I hope to see more of Chris Tucker.
Yeah, no, I recommend it. I think it's streaming somewhere. I don't know where.
Otherwise, Amazon. Yeah,
Amazon.
Yes, you can find it.
That's one of their bigger swings this year, and we'll see if they have another one in store for us.
Yep.
My number 7 movie of the year, and I'm still a little surprised that it made it into the top 10, but again, it's only half of the movies I've seen. Is Pixar's Elemental. I found this to be quite nice. And it is honestly a pretty chill movie. Like as far as animated films go, it was beautiful, gorgeous animation. Story is really nice. And while the trailers presented it as kind of cringy, there wasn't as much of that as I feared. I think that it was not marketed as well as it really could have been. In that respect, it kind of made it look like it was going to be like nothing but puns. But they managed to pull out a pretty nice story here, and good enough to at the very least be my number 7 for now. Hopefully I'm going to add some more movies before the end of the year. We'll see where it goes from there.
You guys did an episode on Elemental, correct?
Mm-hmm. Very recently.
I meant to listen to that one because that is a movie that I have seen, but I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet because I'm still in school. But it's my number 12. I also found it to be just perfectly nice. I think that the strongest story is not the romantic story that we thought we were going to get. I think the strongest story was between the parent and the daughter, Ember and her father in that movie. And I really liked that story. And I just kind of felt a little let down by the romance of it, even though I found their romance perfectly nice. I had no issues with it. I still want a Pixar rom-com. That's what I want. I did not get communism. I know. I didn't get it this time. I got more of a coming of age story for people of our age, and that's fine. That's a cool story. I didn't have a problem with it. I just kind of was hoping for something else, and that may have been my fault, may have been the marketing's fault. It just was kind of meh. Not as bad as everybody's been hating on it, though, I don't think.
No, yeah, there's some people that I think go a little too harsh.
Yeah. It
is perfectly fine. It's also, I don't know, man. I missed out on some because this is another one I forgot to put on the list. So it's not on my list. And so officially did not make the cut this round. We'll see if it makes an appearance in December. But for now, no. But yeah, we talked about it. You guys can go back and listen to that. I also enjoyed Elemental. It's better than what you're probably hearing out there if you read the interwebs.
Yeah. It's hard to say because it does appear to have had some decent word of mouth.
Yeah.
But
a little bit.
But we'll have to. It really started in the hole, so it's doing as well as it can after that. But yeah.
My number 7, Josh. You ready for this? It is Megan. Yeah. My number 7 is Megan. This movie was very entertaining. Just above the other horror movie on my list. Another horror movie on my list. But I felt like this one was just, we crave some kind of an original story, right? And this is really relevant right now, especially with AI and chats really just taking over every single kind of a technological platform that you are on right now. The rise of this doll who learns over time to, it just
ChatGPT the doll.
Yes, it fed into everything that I wanted. It was cheesy in the perfect way. You know, a movie that scares you but also makes you laugh. It's very Chucky-esque in that way, as far as like, you know, the kind of essence that it's going for. And it was scary, and I want another one. So keep it going. Give me M3GAN.2 or whatever it is coming up.
You didn't see it, did you, David?
Of course not. I'm not
I
going to
didn't
see any of
think
these
so.
scary ass movies.
Well, I saw Megan, and like I said earlier, it was in my top 10, but I had to bump it out for some others. But man, I do also really love Megan. It knows exactly what it's doing. And that's the only way for that movie to work. It's so funny. It's so funny. It's like not even scary. It's just too funny to be scary.
Yep.
Is Ronnie something from the Daily Show in it?
Ronnie Chang is in it. Yeah. Yes, highly wonderful.
Yes, love Ronnie Chang.
Ronnie Chang.
Super underrated. Not a lot of famous people in it though. Allison Williams is the inventor of Megan, I guess you would say. So she's got a big role, but overall, not a ton of.
Much like Cal Penn in Smile, there has to be a Daily Show correspondent somewhere in your horror movie, in your like, you know, indie horror movie. You know, you got to have somebody. I'm looking for John Klepper somewhere soon. Is that his name? John Klepper? I don't know.
Jordan Klepper. I was like, who's John
Cuthbert? Sorry.
Okay, what do we have? My number 6?
Your number 6.
Okay, my number 6. This is where I get to reveal that it was Scream. Scream 6.
Scream 6 was
number 6 for me.
Wow.
I already talked about that, so we'll go to David's number 6.
My number 6 is a movie that I'm very excited to talk a little bit about. I don't know if it made either of your top 10s, but it is a documentary named Still, the story of Michael J. Fox. And I really, really loved this movie. What I said in my Letterboxd review was like, if anybody out there was planning to do a Michael J. Fox biopic at some point, just stop, because this movie already took like anything you could have done and did it better. Any ideas you had. It's put together in a really interesting way where Michael J. Fox is telling his story, and they use clips from Michael J. Fox movies, also intercut with some dramatizations, recreations to like tell the story as he's doing it. It's like a really fun, energetic way to do it. And Michael J. Fox is just so charismatic still, and he's still so you hang on his every word, and you feel bad for him, and then you kind of feel bad for feeling bad for him. It's kind of a challenging thing to watch in that respect, but I thought just a really fantastic job, and I recommend anybody to watch it if you were a big fan, even if you're not a big fan of Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, this is on my list too. I will again reveal it later. But I agree with everything that you said, David. I mean, this movie made me go watch Teen Wolf again. You know, you forget the power that Michael J. Fox had for a long time. You know, I was not a kid of the 80s, and I didn't really care about the Keatons. That wasn't one of the shows that I watched quite often, but I know it was very popular. I know. I know, whatever. Family Ties, yeah.
The Michael J. Fox show.
That was a real show, though.
Yeah. He took over, and then Spin City. That's kind of where I remember him from was Spin City, and then obviously Back to the Future's been my favorite franchise forever. You know, you really get to see some of the behind the scenes stuff and the power and like his workaholic like effort, and he is just really inspirational still now. It's a good story. Highly recommend.
Yep, it is also on my list a little later down the road.
Oh,
but
man.
I love the movie. It is told so well. The way they intercut those scenes with new footage of, you know, I guess an actor playing Michael, but you never see him. Love how they do that. Really love this moment where you really get a supercut of scenes showing him trying to mask his
his arm shake.
Yes, his Parkinson's symptoms. His arms shake and his finger twitch. And you see it in a montage like that, and you're like, holy crap, how did they not notice? But it is super subtle when it's just one off here and there. Like seeing how much he like adjusts his watch and stuff, like that's just a move he does.
Yeah, it's definitely like he did it enough for you to just think it was a Michael J. Fox signature. You know, like that was just his,
he's just kind of
he just doesn't sit still. Yeah,
that's just his energy. Like that's his performance capabilities, and that's why when it would always work. Like we watched The American President a few years ago, right? And in that, he's always he's stressed. He's I think it helped for him to play characters that were kind of at the end of their thread. A little bit,
And then also it's just great to see him you get to see his kind of mentality on life, which is basically that he's going to do everything he can to address Parkinson's, to cure it. And he's raised countless millions of dollars for that. But that also, he doesn't give a damn and will live his life anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And you got to respect both of those things.
I also really appreciate that it wasn't like they also interviewed a bunch of other people to talk for this, like it was just, Michael, people. Yeah. You get some scenes that they filmed where they filmed some like reality style shots with him and his family, but they don't like sit down and do like interviews talking about about their experience. It's just his perspective. Well, I'm sorry now that I'm the one who ranked it the lowest.
Well, there's a great part in that too, where he's talking with his son, and he's like, "Does it feel like you have a 90-year-old dad?" And that's just like a really interesting family dynamic you would never think about. Because they're worried about him. He falls all the time, and he's fragile now, but he just doesn't see it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him talk. I've seen a lot of stuff with him lately, and then we'll move on to the next one. But it's high on my list. I can't remember if he said this in the movie or in an interview, so someone will have to correct me if you remember. But I remember him talking about falling recently and breaking a bunch of stuff in his face and scraping himself up. And he kind of talked about how everyone's always worried about him falling and telling him he needs to be careful. But he's like, you think I'm not? Like, this is part of it. Like, I'm gonna fall. I know that. And being careful only goes so far when you're like this. So I don't need to hear that.
Yeah. Like it's not a thing of like, he just loses all control,
Right,
like it's just like, it's like if your car's brakes stopped working all of a sudden, it's like you can be driving as carefully as you want, but when the brakes stop working, not much you can do.
He doesn't even seem overly upset about it. He's like, yeah, I fall. That happens. Mm-hmm. It doesn't bother me. Okay. Where did that leave us? That was
my number 6. So it's Garrett's number 6.
Garrett's number 6, yes.
Following that, I'm pretty sure neither one of you have seen my number 6 movie, A Man Called Otto.
No, I didn't see that.
In another world, this probably wouldn't be on my top 10 list. It's a good movie. I enjoy it. And Tom Hanks is really good. You get a grumpy Tom Hanks. You don't get a grumpy Tom Hanks often. And let me tell you what, you need a grumpy Tom Hanks in your life. It is fun. It is entertaining, but there's also a lot of darkness here. Which surprised me. I didn't know, I've not read the book that it's based on. I kind of went in blind as far as the message that it tells and the story that it tells. So it got a little dark. Took me down a dangerous route that I haven't been down with Tom Hanks since Toy Story 3, and I didn't necessarily care for that. But it's a redeeming kind of a story and it's a very sweet kind of a story as you go through the entire journey. So I do recommend it. I think it's on Netflix now, so you can watch it there. But it was pretty, it was definitely a more surprising watch than I got. I will say he's very good. There are some flashbacks that are not as good. Those have his grandson. I think they're some kind of relative of Tom Hanks, and I'm not saying that he got the job because he's a relative of Tom Hanks, but I'm saying the acting is not as good as the other parts of the movie.
Saying why didn't they just de-age him?
Well, that would have been a good idea.
I got to do a classic So Many Sequels tangent real quick. Y'all know about this show Claim to Fame?
No.
So there's this reality show that I've discovered called, I think it's on ABC, called Claim to Fame. And in it, there's like a group of people who are, typical reality game show. They're living in a house together. It's like Big Brother style. And they're all related to someone famous. And they have to guess who they're related to because they are not famous. And you'd never know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I asked this because there was one that I saw getting a lot of attention the other day on TikTok, I think, where it was a recent episode where Tom Hanks's niece was revealed and sent home, and she had like a full-blown meltdown on TV over it. And I have been meaning to look into it because I can't imagine Tom is proud.
Oh boy. Don't disappoint Tom. Don't do it.
But it's like one of those super trashy shows, and like Tom Hanks' niece is out there acting a fool. And then it got me thinking, do these celebrities know that their random relatives are out there acting fools?
I wonder if that means, is it Jim Hanks' daughter?
I don't know.
There is Tom Hanks' brother. So her last name probably isn't Hanks, is it?
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I just have heard about this through the,
wonder if it's
the grapevine.
His niece through his wife. Who knows?
Could be Rita. I don't know. You're right. You're right. Anyway, that's the tangent. So, yeah, I haven't seen A Man Called Otto either. I'm lightly interested.
I feel
if you're lightly interested, I think you'll walk away enjoying it. Honestly.
Okay.
I feel like there's another movie out called like A Man Named Something.
Probably.
Josh, what's your
that
5?
That sends us to my number 5, which is going to be John Wick Chapter 4.
Mine
there's a man named.
Just while we're there. Just while we're there. Mine is also
which chapter is that's your number what?
That's my number 5.
That is also my number 5.
Whoa, that is a perfect. That is. Has this ever happened in the history of the show?
Know. I believe it has.
Don't ruin it like that. This is our lucky sevens coming up on the jackpot slot. We never hit 3 in a row on the same number.
It's true. Usually, even at the end of a big year, it'll be you, Garrett, and Andrew will all agree that like The Fabelmans is the number 1 movie of the year, and I'll be like, my favorite movie of the year was Spider-Man.
I guess it is true that sometimes we might agree on like a number 1, but a number 5 is pretty loaded for us all to agree. So good, we can all knock out John Wick Chapter 4 right here and now.
We can skip right to number 4. John Wick Chapter 4 is good.
Yep, it's great. It's there's a lot of stuff up in the air about what's going on with John Wick as a franchise. Mm-hmm. There's offshoots and stuff. Will there be a John Wick Chapter 5? I don't know. They seem to be talking about it, despite what happens in John Wick Chapter 4, which could be, I think, a great finale if they leave this part of the franchise where it's at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But another banger. Great action. Keanu's great. Fun story. Baba Yaga. We love John Wick. John Wick 2 forever.
I maintain that it's a little over long. There's maybe one extended fight scene too many, but they were inventive with all of their fight scenes. They were super creative with how they shot them, and absolutely. While I think that I don't know if it's a choice that Keanu Reeves is playing John Wick is progressively less talkative, or if it is I don't know what the problem is. Oh, we're getting that echo again. But I was really into Donnie Yen in the movie, who comes in as this assassin that's like an old friend of John's, and he is fantastic. I had a lot of fun. I don't think it's my favorite of the John Wick movies, but it was really good. I am really fascinated to see how or if they managed to make another one.
Yeah, so John Wick is also my number 5. I agree with everything you guys said. David, it was a little overlong. I agree with that aspect. But outside of that, I don't really have any critiques other than I'm a little confused. I don't know where it's going.
Yeah.
But I want to watch it again to see the action, because I actually didn't like this one. Obviously, you can't just keep getting better and better and better each time. I think this is a step down from 4. That's not to say anything bad. It's just not as good. I didn't think it needed to be that long. But the fight scenes were still super A+. Well done.
Okay. Well, since that was everyone's 5, I'll go ahead and shift to my 4, which is Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This is a very fresh one, so I'll avoid spoilers on it just because a lot of people listening might not have seen it yet. But as a big Indiana Jones fan, I was very pleased with this movie as Harrison Ford's final hurrah as Indiana Jones. I think they delivered on that. I think, and from what I understand, from what I hear and see and have talked to, I think people at least seem to agree it's better than Crystal Skull. So your mileage may vary there, but I was very happy with it. So it's my number 4. Great story, great classic indie story, great action. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is an upgrade from Shia LaBeouf in every way. And there's a lot of good surprises too for longtime fans. A lot of good Easter eggs and stuff like that. So I loved Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny enough to make it my number 4.
Here. It's not my number 4, but we'll hear about it again here very soon. That tells you a lot. But I agree with pretty much everything Josh said. Garrett, do you have any thoughts? You haven't seen it yet, have you?
I have not had a chance to see it. It's got to be a catch-up movie.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it'll be worth your time.
I got to be honest, though. I'm just kind of middling on it. I'm not excited about it, and I don't know I don't necessarily know if I've been overly hyped for it. I'm like leaning on the looking forward to it side, but not quite there yet. But I think my brain is just distracted. Yeah,
it's very. I mean, yeah, you got a lot going on over there, but. Yeah, there's been a lot of crosstalk about it, and Josh and I don't really prescribe to the haters.
Sure.
But I found it to be very rewarding. For me, it's my number 3. I'll just say it now. It's my number 3, and it's hard to top for me, it's hard to top Raiders, and it's hard to top The Last Crusade. So for me, it's a solid 3rd in the franchise. Anyway, my number 4, though, and I'm excited to talk about this one again, but I kind of feel like it's not going to be on y'all's list, is Dungeons and Dragons, Honor Among Thieves. I quite enjoyed this. What a romp. What a lot of fun. Made me want to play Dungeons and Dragons, have my character created, have another character created, and accidentally created a 3rd character. But anyway, I thought we had a blast talking about it. It was a lot of fun, and so I feel very good about it. 4 stars, number 4 on the list.
It is on my list, and I will reveal that number later.
Oh, wonderful! Interesting. Would you believe I forgot to put it on my list? I really thought my list was complete.
You got
but I missed several key pieces. So I cannot speak to where D&D will lie at our year-end review, but I agree with you, David. We did have a blast talking about that. I had a blast watching it. I casually played D&D and thought it was really fun, and there were enough references for me to understand it, and I don't know a lot. So a lot of good stuff going for it, and I hope it continues in some way.
Yeah, agree with everything. It was hilarious. It delivered on both fantasy, action, and a nice little sentimental story there that was woven in quite well. So very good. Okay. My number 4, though, is Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise.
Oh, interesting.
My top 10 is stacked with horror movies this year, and this one has been my favorite by far as horror movies. It has got the perfect, again, amount of camp. It is scary in a good way. Like, it is actually unsettling and like uncomfortable. And there are moments where it's like, I don't like this. Mm-hmm. But then it is also very humorous. The look and the way that it's shot is very similar to this franchise, the way that it's done. And it just really delivered. I've watched it twice so far this year, and both times have been equally as entertaining of a watch.
Well, that's cool. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. That looks scary. But I don't know. I'll probably try to see it before the end of the year. It's one of those movies that I usually try to sneak into like November and December to up my movie counts.
Sure.
But that's cool. All right.
Yeah, I missed it too, but I'm seeing now that it's streaming on Max. So yes, I will have to add it to my list and remedy that before the end of the year because I want to see it too.
It's very good.
Okay. Okay. I'll subject myself to it so David doesn't have to.
Thank you.
All right. That takes us
I just remember watching the trailer and the scary possessed mom kind of sounded like Owen Wilson during one of her lines where she's like, "Mommy's with the maggots now." And I was like, "Whoa, Owen Wilson does the voice of the mom? That's crazy."
Not far off.
My number 3, which I have a feeling is David's number 2, is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I knew it.
No, it's not my number. Well, we'll find out.
Okay. Anyway, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is the finale of this iteration of the Guardians. James Gunn came back after a controversial firing / rehiring to deliver this movie way later than expected. We covered this, right? They can go back and listen to our full review.
Oh, yeah. Full review earlier this year.
So go check out our full review. But I was very happy with it in terms of wrapping up this franchise. A lot of good moments for every character. Very heartfelt and touching. Didn't totally go in directions I expected it to in a way that I liked. So overall, I'm very happy with it. It's probably the most complete of the Marvel individual trilogies or series, I think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'll talk about it a little more here in a minute, but I agree. My number 3, I already mentioned, was Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny.
Right.
So I'll toss it to Garrett.
My number 3 is Dungeons and Dragons. So we've already talked about that, but I want to weigh in real quick on Guardians because I have not seen it, but I have just a real quick hot take on superhero movies real quick in general.
Okay.
I think I've reached the point where I'm done, boys. I don't care about any of the rest that are out, that are coming out. I have no interest. I'm not watching any of the shows. I have limited desire to go back and see the ones that have come out this year. I think that I have reached my peak because I just think that we're just getting them because they think that we all want superhero actionies, and they're not giving me anything, and I just can't. And unfortunately, that is seeping into my level of interest in Guardians. Unfortunately, because I am just so uninterested. Despite the fact that I want to see it, and you guys are saying it's good, like I believe you, but I just am like over them. Well, I think I've hit my burnout.
I'll tell you this: burnout with this one. This is the one. Like if you want to finish it, I'll tell you this: if you want to be done. And you want to finish on a place that makes you feel like good. All right. Like I can close the chapter. This is a good close the chapter kind of one. So maybe you don't have to rush to it. I wouldn't say, but sit down, turn the lights out, have a good moment in your living room there. And I think this will be a good one to say goodbye to hyper fixation on superhero movies. I'm sure at some point in time, you'll probably watch another one in the future. Sure. But if you want to close the chapter for a little while, this is a good close the chapter.
I saw a lot of people say that they felt like Volume 3 felt like a Marvel movie again. Okay. So take that for what it's worth.
Okay. Yeah, Marvel's got to figure their stuff out, and DC's so far gone that I don't know how they gonna get me to come back. I mean, James Gunn's a good start, but
but they're the world's really largest train wreck right now, so they have nowhere to go.
You guys are really gonna have to deliver, and I'm looking at you too, Marvel. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so now we're at number 2s, I believe.
Number 2.
Yes. Number 2 is still a Michael J. Fox movie. That's my number 2.
Really? There you
go. I was pretty pleased with it, as we said earlier. So highly recommend it. That would be my number 1 documentary of the year.
David?
My number 2 is Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This was really, really fantastic. It was, we saw, I think we all saw the first one. The first one is a really well-told, heartfelt story that takes advantage of the multiverse, I think, better than other films have, the concept of the multiverse. And then this one just takes that and just blows it out. I mean, some have described it as overwhelming in that regard. But what I like is it doesn't just rush into, the trailer you've seen of all the different Spider people. There's like a real concrete story that builds to that, that sort of fun and rewarding and Easter egg hunting and all that stuff. The characters are funny. The voice acting is really, really incredible, I think. You could listen to me and Josh talk about it from a few weeks back. Just a really solid movie. And I, there's been some talk since it's come out about the working conditions to get it finished, but which makes me feel bad. So I really hope that they can get that sorted out before they complete the third one. But yeah, I loved it. 5 stars. It's number 2 movie for me.
Yep. I'll go ahead and reveal to you right now, The Spider-Verse is my number 1 movie. I think it's actually insane. I don't understand how they made it a movie better than the first one, but they did. I hope that your superhero burnout doesn't include Spider-Verse, because you do.
No, it doesn't. No, this is different.
I was just thinking, like, if you erased every superhero movie from this year and just left that one, I'd be okay. That's by far the best one. It's ridiculous.
It is.
I don't even want to spoil what any part of it, even though it's been out for a minute, just because you need to experience it for the first time. It's great storytelling.
I'm really upset that I just won't get to see it in a Dolby or a big giant screen. That's really what I'm most upset about. But it is my number 1 movie to see once I am able to see a movie. But I have not seen it, unfortunately. So I will reveal my number 2 while I'm here, because we already talked about it, and it's Air.
Oh, Yay. There you go. Air.
Okay.
Air is, looking forward to that.
So my number 1 was Spider-Verse.
My number 1 is Guardians of the Galaxy.
I really am surprised. I thought, I was like certain that you'd pick Spider-Verse for number 1.
So, and I thought about this a lot long and hard, because these are the only 2 movies, Guardians and Spider-Verse, they're the only 2 movies I've given 5 stars this year. And I really do think that probably the capper on Guardians is the sort of, it's a culmination, and Spider-Verse is still sort of like, there's more to come, like it's definite. It's a solid middle of the story. Also, Spider-Verse wowed me, but like Guardians legitimately made me cry. Like I was like emotionally just overwhelmed by the end, stirred, I was feeling it. And Spider-Verse is incredible. And there's a lot of good moments, but when it finished, I was like, golly, that was just so intense and so much stuff. And Guardians, I was like, yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was good. So yeah, it's my number 1 movie of the year. And it could stay there. We'll see. I mean, there's still some more movies to come. There are some movies that I'm looking forward to for the rest of the year. Maybe we can talk about anticipated movies in a minute. But yeah, that's my number 1. Garrett?
My number 1 is Still. It is number 1. The story, the storytelling of this and the way that they put it together and the subject matter itself is just no notes for that movie.
Yeah.
Man. I think in that regard, Still and John Wick are probably our most beloved movies of the year, just because I think those are the 2 that are on all 3 of our lists. Yeah,
we'll have to do the math later. I do want to wrap this up since we've gone long, but let's go ahead and maybe throw out a couple you're anticipating before the end of the year runs out.
Let's talk. Let's also. We won't know how to talk long about it, but I want to mention some bottom movies. Some movies I think will stay at the bottom. But for me, Oppenheimer is still the big one for me this year.
Barbenheimer.
Yeah.
To me, they're intertwined. I want to see them both equally.
I know.
Man, I don't know. You take a list. I got a lot.
Well,
Wonka, that looks interesting. I'm behind on a bunch. Saw 10 is coming out. I'm looking forward to that.
Socks.
Barbie, Oppenheimer. I'm looking forward to catching up and what's ahead.
Josh, any specific ones jump out to you?
Same for those. Oppenheimer, Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon. Just dropped a new trailer that was fire. There's a lot. There's still a lot to look forward to, I think. Especially as we get into fall and winter Oscar season and some of those ones they've been holding on to. All right, David, what was one of your worsts?
So also, I just want to say too, I think it's so fascinating. Barbie and Oppenheimer are so linked to each other, and they couldn't be more different. I can't think of 2 movies that have ever done that before, been so linked.
And on accident.
got to mention some of the bottom movies of the year if you guys want to throw out any as well. Josh, you and I reviewed this one together. It was 65, still at the bottom of my list. What a stinker.
If it helps, that was on my most anticipated list. It is also my second, but like at the bottom.
It's down at the bottom too?
The only movie that I've seen that's worse is Murder Mystery Part 2, and I didn't technically see it. I stopped at about 10 minutes in.
You stopped it early.
It wasn't even worth it. It wasn't funny enough to keep going. It hurt. It hurt too bad.
Josh, where'd 65 finish on your list?
Number 17 out of 26, but no, it'll have to be changed. There are at least 2 to 3 that need to go above it.
Oh yeah,
but I haven't updated it. My bottom 2 right now are Murder Mystery 2, and then the worst one is You People on Netflix.
Oh,
Eddie Murphy, one of the most god awful things I've seen in a long time.
So my other ones at the bottom are Shazam! Fury of the Gods, which is exactly what Garrett was talking about. And then this one I watched just the other day just to pad this list out. Renfield. That was quite not what I wanted.
I was looking forward to that one.
Did you guys see that one yet?
Not yet, but I wanna.
I won't spoil anything for you. I'm just going to say that 2 members of the cast are excellent, and the other 2 members of the cast don't. I don't know why they're there. Anyway, that's all I'll say. Highly disappointed in that. But yeah, any other shout outs you guys want to do before we wrap this up?
Nah. We'll get to more stinkers next time.
I will say that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's it. We reviewed 5 of the top 10 movies this year at the box office. We're only halfway through the year, but the box office for 2023 is already matched the whole year of 2021. So we're on a good pace. 2022 finished with 7.5. I would say that if this year finishes over 8.5 or 9 million, I think it's safe to say that movies are officially all the way back.
Movies are back, baby. Thank you, Nicole Kidman.
I'll tell you what, pissed at Nicole Kidman. Why? Where's that sequel? We talked about at the beginning of the year. Where's that new one?
That's the most anticipated sequel of the year. Still,
she'll get to it.
Ain't happened yet.
You know what? It'll come out when that last Game of Thrones book does. That man's been writing that for 20 years.
I saw some weird TikTok that I don't know if it was real or not. It was an animated character interviewing George R.R. Martin, and they called. Have you guys heard of James Patterson?
Heard of him. The author,
They called author James Patterson, and they pretended like George R.R. Martin was just some guy. They didn't tell him who he was. And James Patterson, they were like, "We know that you're probably working on your 3rd book of the day. How do you get your writing process going?" He was like, "Well, this, that." And he goes, how many pages do you have?" And George R.R. Martin goes, "I'm up to 800. And he goes, "Oh, I'd say you're done." He goes, done. "When's your deadline?" And George R.R. Martin goes, 6 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
He ain't going to finish that book. No, all right. No. That's our mid-year review. Thank you all for watching and or listening. We're going to get back into movie reviews for the rest of the year. We'll end the year, of course, with our final top 10 lists of the year. We'll see what gets dropped from this episode, what gets added, what moves around. Huh?
A lot of movies are going to get added for Josh.
Oh, I hope so.
Because
that's the idea, right?
A lot of movies that didn't even make it on the list.
Yeah. I got to add a lot more than I missed, apparently. So follow us online. You can go to somanysequels.com and find links to our social channels and the entire back catalog of episodes. You can search for movies in there, see if we've covered one already. So go check that out. And of course, patreon.com/somanysequels set up there. We'll get you hooked up with our Discord where you can hang out with us and chat and stuff in our little private server. And yeah, that's it. We'll see you guys next time.